Replacing your inlet to your Stairmaster is actually pretty easy. So follow along with me as we work on this Free Climber 4200PT model. So if we take a closer look at the Stairmaster, right on the back of the shroud are these buttons. Some of them are out. And on the sides of these shrouds, you can see these are out already. There are the buttons as well, and there's one towards the bottom that you want to be aware of. And these are two shroud pieces. One there, one there. So we want to take those pins out with a flathead screwdriver, and how you can do that is on these little buttons right here, or pins, is a slit that you can insert the flathead screwdriver, pull it out. This is going to stick out, and then you could practically take the whole thing out. So we got all the pins off of both shroud pieces, and I laid the machine on its side. That way I'd have an easier time taking that off when we need to. Something that's important to note is that you don't want to take the pins off of the top end of the machine. That's what's holding this shroud on, and we don't really need to take this off or the other side off. So you could see the connection right there between them both. All we need to take off is this one and the other one. That's right on the other side. And once you get the pins out, you pull this off. And now we have free access to the inlet. And that's held on by 4 screws, which I already took off. And there's a bolt down there that you can get to via a flathead screwdriver. Now, if you follow the wiring, it goes into the machine and it's visible on the other side. So we're gonna tilt this machine up, take the shroud on the other side off, and disconnect the wire. Now, taking this guy out was actually a toughie, so I did use a power drill just to keep note of that. And if you look here at the wiring, which I forgot to mention, you may find zip ties that you would have to cut. That way you can pull all this out with ease. All right, the machine is up, shroud off. We can take a look inside, and the black and white wiring is the inlet, and it's connected here. And the black wire is connected on the alternator here. So we want to take that off, and we want to take this off. Then we'll replace it with the brand new one, and it's the same exact connections. Okay, got that bolt out, and you want to be careful. This is actually the inlet. On that bolt is 3 different wires, 1, 2, the inlet, and there's also this right here, which is supposed to be bolted in as well. So just remember that these are all supposed to be on the same bolt when you screw it back in, and the inlet is still connected right down there. And we already undid the other side, so you can pull it out. Okay, and now we're gonna install the new one. So on the new one, the green wire is the ground that goes on the other side, and the longer wire, the black one, remember we removed the black one from here, we just wanna reconnect that black one to here. So the black goes on here, and we're gonna re-screw this back in. Make it nice and tight. There we go. And now we connect the white one into here. So here is something kind of funny. I had to chop our red plastic piece on our new input jack because it didn't fit this piece. And the reason why is because it was supposed to have this one, the pink one, so that it fit properly. So it still fit. We made it fit. It works. The machine turns on. So just keep in mind also, when you buy another one of these input jacks, or inlets as I like to call them, make sure that the ends of it is correct. You can match pink to pink, and they fit each other. Otherwise, you're gonna go through the same issue we did and have to cut the plastic just so it fits. So, but got it to fit. Now we just have to reinsert the whole input jack back where it was. So I am going to tuck this in back behind the chain like it was before, feed it through. You want to make sure all of it's fed through so it's nice and tight, because when people use this machine, that's why they zip tie it so the cords don't get caught in all the moving parts within. So you could re-zip tie it if you want. I don't think I'm going to for this machine. I'm just going to make sure it's pretty tight when it's all the way on the other side. All right, so the jack is in, and now we just want to slide the shrouds back in their original places. And when you slide it in, this piece is going to go under here, and that's going to go under this shroud. So we're going to do that to both sides, and then we'll pin it back in. So I got the machine upright, and the reason being is because I found it to be easier to insert both shroud pieces while it's up versus laying down. What happened to me was when I had it laying down and I was trying to insert this shroud, I even pinned it in. As soon as I pulled the machine up, it slipped off or some of it popped off. So it's better that you have it upright and then go that way versus having it laying down. Another reason why it's better to have it upright is because when you put these two together, starting with the right side, this is the right side, that's the left. This piece of it is going to lay on top of right here. And then it's gonna pin them both in when you pin it. So that's important. Another thing is this piece right here and this piece right here are gonna insert right underneath these two shroud pieces. And you wanna be careful because when you bring this up and you try to insert it underneath, make sure it does not slip underneath this gap right here instead of underneath this one. Because if it slips underneath this gap and you put them both together, it's gonna create a gap between here and here. And then when you try pinning it in, it's not gonna go in all the way. Might sound a little confusing, but just make sure to keep it simple. Both these shroud pieces insert underneath this one, not this one. One more thing to note is there is this wire right here, and it likes to lay right on top of there, and that might be frustrating when you're trying to insert this shroud because it's just not going in all the way due to the wire. So set this behind here, make sure it doesn't get in the way. That way you have an easier time. All right, got both in. I started with the right side, put it in, and then did the left. And we can see right here, there is nothing sliding underneath this gap right here. Both of these shrouds are underneath this one, or both of them. So now that's not gonna create a gap in between here, because if you were to have a gap in between this shroud and this shroud, that's not gonna pin through. It's not gonna be long enough. So you want this to sit right on top of here. That way it could pin all the way through. And this piece of the machine is sitting on top of this shroud. You can see that. And this is sitting on top of here as well. Nothing's overlapping. So all that's left is now to pin it in. All right, all fixed up. Shrouds are on, pinned in, machine works great. And that is how you replace a power jack or inlet on a Stairmaster 4200PT model.